you need to add some railing or guardrail to your design? Here is a fun tool, easy to use, to design a lot of different types of steel protections, the railing command. First, the railing command needs a wireframe input. For example, I can create a spline in a sketch and use it as the rail path. A small grid is then displayed where I can pick the horizontal curve if I want to add a rail. I can add additional rails if needed, change the height of the bottom rail or of the top rail. I can add parametric returns at start or end of the path. I can change the shape of the rails from round to square or rectangle. By default, all rails are identicals, but I can uncheck the same as top rail box to define a specific shape for the bottom rail or intermediate rails. Then you can switch to the post menu. Posts are added at the start and end by default, but you can define a minimum spacing to add more. By default, they are aligned or tangent to the rail path, but orientation can be similar to the first one by unchecking the box. Shape of the posts can also be adjusted. Then, if you want, you can add a baluster by checking the box. Maximum spacing between balusters can also be set here as their shape. Finally, the last option allows including a handrail that can also have its own returns at start and end and its specific shape. The railing command is also compatible with other commands, such as the ramp one. I create first a ramp by selecting a point as position and a plane as direction. The start limit will be the start level plane for the ramp. Once the ramp is created, I can directly pick it as the reference for my railing. The grid is automatically created, and I can pick the segments where I want to add rails or directly add handrails. The stairwell command is also compatible with railings. I create the stairs based on levels for primary landings and a position defined by a point. I can then either select manually the segment where I want to add rails, or pick the all-in path command to pick the full path for the rail. I can pick both sides. I can then add the posts and define a minimum spacing. If I want to remove a portion of the rail to be able to exit the stairs on the middle floor, I can go back to the single menu and select the Control key while I pick the segment. Balusters can also be added, and I can adjust their shape. Finally, I can add a handrail with the mode all-in path and add returns at end and start. In the specification tree, my railing is decomposed into different sets, such as posts, rails, balusters, and handrails. I can use this to adjust the colors and get a better look for my stair railings. I will now show you a couple of examples. First, guardrails for a factory that needs to be added between the steel columns. If my steel design has been done using a grid, I can use the grid output command to extract only the output segment I'm interested in. I will then create points on curves to define the position of my posts. I use those 2 points to split the line and can now use this line as path for my railing. I define the rail, add a second one, add returns at start and end. The posts have been automatically added. I adjust the length of the returns. My guardrail is done and I can create the other ones using the same process. Here I will add a railing on this terrace with stairs. I already have created a polyline as path for my railing that I select as input. I can adjust the position of my rails with reference to the path. I will center it on the polyline. I add a second rail and adjust the height of the top one and of the bottom one. I use the same shape for the bottom and top one and can switch to the post menu. I uncheck the Align to Rail Path option to have all the posts oriented the same way. I can extend downward the posts if necessary. Finally, I include balusters. Same way, I will add here a glass railing. I pick the path, remove the balusters, and add a third rail. I adjust the position of the top and bottom rails. Change the shape of the top rail, and the bottom rail shape is the same as the top one. I then set the intermediate rail with a different shape, a rectangular one with its height and width. Finally, I adjust the design of the posts. To give a more realistic look, I will pick the glass surface, set its color to blue, and add transparency. I can then adjust the color of the posts and the color of the top and bottom rails. And I can continue my design. Have fun!